upgrades.
Hey, what's going on out there, everyone? We are here to talk about TMNT Mutant Mayhem. This is a brand new film. We had the honor of being able to check it out during the time we were supposed to be at San Diego Comic-Con. We came back, we watched it, we enjoyed it, and we're going to go and break it down. This is me and Lucas. What's going on, Lucas?
Hey, man, nothing much at all. This should be a fun breakdown of a movie that, after San Diego, I couldn't wait to see.
Yeah, I kind of was supposed to actually put on my things. I just forgot.
I'm not doing that. I had two of my little nieces who, when I put it on, they say, "Wait a minute, your head's way too big for that." I say, "You know what? I'm not gonna put this. I'm not gonna put those masks on my face anymore."
Oh my God. Yeah, no, they need a little bit more space with the eyes. But yeah, you guys, we're gonna go and break this down. This was directed by Jeff Rowe. This has got a very interesting cast because the cast is very young. Like these are legit actual youths, and the starring cast is for Leonardo is Nicolas, Cantu, Micah Abbey plays the role of Donatello, Bradley Noon plays the role of Raphael, and for Michelangelo, it is Shamon Brown Jr. And as far as the role for April O'Neil is played by Ayo, I'm gonna get her last name wrong. I apologize. Edebiri. And if you've known her from Bear, she's an amazing actress. So yeah, Lucas, you're the one that saw the first 20 minutes of this at San Diego Comic Con. I didn't get to see it, and you were the one that was like, "Hey, I think we really need to go and check this out." So what was it from that clip to the transition, what you saw in this film that was like, okay, they hit the mark, or what do you think?
The first 20 minutes that they showed during a presentation during San Diego Comic-Con, it was so much emotion packed into that clip, along with great humor and a good action scene. And I said, "Oh, this seems different." Like, I haven't felt this way since I saw the first Spider-Verse film. When I said, "Okay, this could be something extremely special." So right after they showed it at Comic-Con, and then they had a conversation with the director, the original writer of the Ninja Turtles, the original person who did the comic books, and they broke down how they did the film. They broke down like the animation was set this way and it looks this way because they wanted the animation to look like a teenager actually drew the film. And then they talked about how they recorded these young men who played the Ninja Turtles, that not only did they record them reading their lines, they recorded them while they didn't know they were being recorded because they wanted actual teenage conversation between them to also put in the film. And I said, man, that just sounds groundbreaking that you would go to that extent to get the perfect audio of these Ninja Turtles. Like, that's something that I don't think anyone's ever thought about doing, of saying, we're going to hire teenagers to play that character of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, which never happens. And then we're going to record them using teenage language, down to the extent of the director saying, I didn't understand everything they were saying, so I had to record it and then check it to make sure everything they saying wasn't offensive. Like, that is so rare that, in all honesty, it never happens in these type of movies. Even something so great as Spider-Verse, those characters who are teenagers are voiced by adults.
Right.
So to bring in children to voice this, so that's why you get certain, like when they said Riz in the footage they showed us, I said, oh, this is definitely teenagers. That is not language adults use, but teenagers clearly know that you're cool if you have Riz. And I said, okay, so they actually did this. And then just to hear them say that Seth was very big on, as long as he got to make a movie with teenagers, he would gladly make a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie, but it had to have actual teenagers play the Ninja Turtles. So all of that intrigued me so much. They showed the mutants, which is one of my favorite ones. I'm never going to get his name right. I think is he a lizard? Played by Post Malone. All I know is that he sings it cheerfully. Like that right there, I lost it when I heard that. And the point that they dug so deep into the backlog of what the mutants are and mutants that you've never seen before outside of the comics. I was more than intrigued exactly what this movie would be.
Yeah, the lizard's name is Ray Fillet, and he actually was a highlight. Skateboarding, like it's like a modern day interpretation of what you would think for like a skateboarder dude would be back in the day. And
Yeah.
the thing about it, and to you hit the nail on the head when it came to their dialogue. They felt like actual teenagers, and I think even down to them reconstructing their origin, not necessarily changing it, but they're making it make more sense and more natural. And I think the natural progression of them as characters moved over to them in their language and communication with each other. Like they looked like they thrived like actual natural brothers. Even down to some of the references. You guys, any of you guys that are like, I guess, younger than 15 or maybe even younger than
Young,
like 20
no,
and
no,
back,
it's I about
are
to say yes, 20 and back. Yeah.
you're gonna get so many crazy references, whether it's anime, whether it's lingo, whether it's music. Like, I don't know how Paramount afforded some of the callbacks. Because a lot of things like, they'll go and reference it and they'll remix the name. They don't remix anything here. Like they're like, if it's like
No.
this, they'll talk about it. If it's this artist, they'll bring it up. If it's this movie reference, they'll bring it up. And it makes it so cool because even when the other characters, like you said, the mutants are in this, there's so many callbacks, not just to specific things, but music. And I wanted to peg that with you is what did you think about the music selection in this and how they were able to get away with some of the stuff they did? I was real curious on your take on that.
And I'm always going to go back to the preview they showed us at Comic Con, San Diego Comic Con. Before the preview of the Ninja Turtles came on, the soundtrack they was playing was hardcore 90s rap.
Yeah.
And I linked up to another Team JBS member, Miguel, aka Ronan, and they played Who Shot Ya by Biggie. And I said, dude, this does not seem like the song I should hear before a Ninja Turtles panel. And then they showed us the clip, and Ante Up by MOP is like the featured song in the clip and in this movie. And I said, oh my God, like that. I know what that song is. I grew up in a time period. I was very young when that song came out. I know what that song means. And for it to play during a Ninja Turtles trailer or movie completely threw me off guard. I think that they fully embrace that the New York element of the Ninja Turtles, which is highly important because that's where they are. This is the city that they love. And they picked music of hip hop to really insinuate that like we are in New York and that and that and that the Ninja Turtles were New York based. So I absolutely love this soundtrack. I love the references they pull out. I love the part at the beginning where the Ninja Turtles are talking about like disobeying Splinter, and they said we went to a New York Knicks game, and then we went to an Adele concert, and then here Michelangelo said, "And the notes, she hit those notes." It's so authentic, to what you would expect teenagers to say.
Right.
That's what makes this movie so good. It is It is heartfelt at times.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, I cried during this movie at a certain point in time because of just the emotional weight that they put on. Like, we have to remember, these are teenagers who crave to be normal.
Yeah.
Like, they don't know any better.
Right.
And we see everything. And Jackie Chan,
Oh,
who plays Master Splinter, is phenomenal in this movie. Absolutely phenomenal. Down to, and I'm not going to spoil anything, but it's an action scene with Splinter where they decided to use Splinter the exact same way Jackie Chan does action.
yeah.
And that was phenomenal. But like, just the musical selection is immaculate in this movie. If you are from New York, if you know what New York bass, hip hop, and things of that nature are, the soundtrack fits perfectly to it. If you use MOP and Biggie in your film prominently, you understand we are in New York. And that's what this film does.
Yeah, it is interesting because I think this is the first Ninja Turtles movie that I can think of. Because even like the TMNT one, I actually really liked that one. I thought that was a very interesting take.
That's the 07 one, right?
Yeah, because with that one, it gave them like their struggle as brothers, but then you're adding in a new element of characters that we've never seen before. But then this one takes characters we've seen before that are kind of like discarded characters, so to speak. We know Bebop and Rocksteady, but the rest of them are kind of like, eh. And they made every single one of these mutants matter. They made every single one of these mutants like have real progressional character development, even down to Ice Cube as Superfly.
Yeah.
And I was kind of just like, I looked over, I was like, that's not like Ice Cube. And it was kind of like the way that the mutants come out, the way they move, the way they function. And I think even more than that, the way that the world expands around them, like it's so believable, but at the same time, it's fantastical. It's so weird to explain because they have their own backstory. And when you get the understanding of their backstory, it makes sense. Much like the Turtles, their backstory is different than what we know. And there are certain things that Master Splinter has instilled in them that kind of like overshadow certain things that, you know, people are instilling in their children now because of what has happened in the past. And I think that little detail that they do with that is so effective from a story standpoint that I got to give Jeff props, because I was like, how did they make this work? It shouldn't work, but it's working. And I'm caring and I'm feeling for these mutants. And I think that the thing you hit the nail on the head the first time is that we've never looked at them as teenagers. We've looked at them have teenage angst. We've had them have teenage moments, but they've always looked, even down to their body build, has always looked like, oh, okay, they can take care of themselves. Like there's never like a threat that they're not going to be able to take. Like when you look at, you know, these interpretations, they are scrawny, they are kids. One of them got a flu, the other one's wearing some bifocals. You know, they're not always put together. And even more so when you see how they learn, how they're taught, this is a very different version of Turtles than what we've seen before in the past. And I love that.
Wow.
They've made this something that our generation will appreciate, but the generation now will love and carry on to see where they go, how they evolve as characters. And so I think it's just so interesting. But what was your other interpretation of some of the other ones outside the 07 one? I think the Michael Bay ones and then the original ones. What was your take on those?
Well, for me, and this, I'm going to age myself. I went to see the original Ninja Turtles in 1990 opening weekend. I was taken to see that film. The film came out in 1990. That should tell you how old I am, that I saw that opening weekend as a kid. And I absolutely loved it. Amazingly, the next time I loved the Ninja Turtles were the Michael Bay films. Whoa. I enjoy those movies.
Wow.
Granted, the Turtles are 8 feet tall for some reason that I don't fully understand, but I enjoy the back and forth that they did with the Turtles. The storyline, I don't care about that. It's the Ninja Turtles. They're giant turtles. They're turtles. I care less about the storyline. So I actually enjoyed it. It's not been maybe part 3 of the Ninja Turtles when they were samurais in the early 90s. That's the only film I didn't like of the Ninja Turtles. I've liked every iteration of the Ninja Turtles because I grew up with the Ninja Turtles.
Right.
I had the original action figures of the Ninja Turtles. Again, I saw the original movies. I know when they played in this movie, Go Ninja, Go Ninja, Go, what that did to me as a kid when I was in theaters in I think 92 when that movie came out,
Right.
part 2, Return of the Ooze, which is still, even though I can admit this is possibly the best Ninja Turtle movies ever made. My favorite is still Ninja Turtles 2, Secret of the Ooze. That's my favorite Ninja Turtles film. So I know this is a better movie than that, but that's still my favorite film because it brings back so many childhood memories. So I never understood what fandom was until the Ninja Turtles came out, and I became a huge Ninja Turtles fan. I had a Ninja Turtles big wheel. I had the shell back in the 90s. Like I begged my mom for it because they used to make shells, people out there. And we used to wear the shells with our big wheels and helmets with our big wheels for the Ninja Turtles. I had all of that. And I had to beg my mom, who, we didn't grow up in the best, like, economic status for me to ask for these toys. But Ninja Turtles was special to me growing up. So it brought a childlike innocence when I got to see this film that I hadn't experienced in years. So there's not an iteration of the Ninja Turtles I don't like, except for possibly the 2012 cartoon one where they were really boxed and all that. I don't like that one. But the 07 film to the 03 series to the early 90s series to the most recent one in 2018, like I can watch all of those back to back to back to back.
Yeah.
Because in the end, the Ninja Turtles are about just brothers and how brothers don't get along. And as someone with a multitude of siblings of different age ranges and lots of brothers, I have 10 of them, I fully understood what it meant when you squabble with your brothers. And that's the key element of the Ninja Turtles.
Yeah. I think one thing they did interesting to me is with Leo's character. And it's weird because I've always loved Leo because I love what Leo's core is. Like he in his core wants the best for his brothers, but he also doesn't want to cross his dad. And in this one, they added a little wrinkle to that because he also wants to be normal. Like he also wants to be human. He wants them to coexist with humans. He wants to love. He wants to be able to understand. And it was so fascinating how they clowned him the whole movie. Like his brothers, that's what brothers would do. Like, you're the one that's the snitch. We're gonna come for your life, And so I thought that was so natural. And then it played on to how they introduced April. Now, I was curious your perspective on April because aside from April being, a black woman, it was more so like I love the fact that April was what she wanted to be. Like she wanted to be a journalist. She wanted to go and get the story. Like that was her prime objective. Like these turtles were cool, but it was like, how do I get the story right? And I love that she kind of came across as like, this is the closest I've seen a character come to like a Lois Lane, which I think that's maybe what they wanted April to always be, but they have her so young here. It's just fascinating. I was curious your perspective on April with this one.
I love the point that she was a teenager in this film.
Yeah.
We've never seen April as a teenager.
Nope.
So in this film, she's growing with the turtles. So it's not like she's older than them. In every other film, April has been significantly older than the Ninja Turtles. In this film, it made the sexual innuendos that we get from April in almost every other turtle film not feel creepy.
Yep.
Because here she's their age. It makes sense why one of them or all of them would have certain feelings about her. And I think it's a great element to add because once you add April, once you add that she's a teenager, you open up another window about acceptance for the turtles, which is highly important in their origin story. Like if anyone knows what the original comic is, and another secret, I don't read comics. the only comic I've ever read in my life is a Ninja Turtles comic. So I know how dark those comics actually are. And I know how much they lighten these characters up when we got the television show and we got the movies. But April was always older than them. With here, when April was a teenager with the Ninja Turtles, it just makes for a more seamless plot line.
Yeah.
Because with her being so young and we see her pursuing her dreams along with them pursuing a dream of being accepted, it's just a different element that we don't normally see with the Ninja Turtles, and it works great in this film. And I'm not saying that the other Aprils didn't. I love every April O'Neil has ever been on screen has been good, including Megan Fox. And I know that's hard to believe, but she's good as April O'Neil for what they wanted April to be. Yeah. But here, I think it's just a different element when you make her a teenager with the Turtles. And that's highly important to this plot line for her to be a teenager, because we get to see what a normal teenager's life is versus what the Turtles' life is, and how they must make that adjustment, how they crave what she has, down to just like normal stuff like high school, and how they just like, hey, I would just love to go to high school, and they get to live that life at times through April's eyes. And that's highly important with the way this movie works.
Yeah. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it, you guys. I love this. I can't wait to watch it again. I think that, I mean, the biggest things, the staples for it is, I mean, I think the animation was great. I was questioning whether or not the animation would land, but I think when Lucas kind of described to me what the director was going for, and then also how we see it fluidly move as far as the action, as far as the pacing, and then the action expands out. Like from a world standpoint, like it literally goes places that none of the other Turtles movies could have gone if it wasn't animated like this. And I really truly think that they have something groundbreaking working with the youth for this one, with the way that the character story is gonna go. Even down to Splinter. Splinter's got like a very interesting trajectory in this one that he never has before. We always known what Splinter's backstory is. With this one, this is very different. And there is a stinger at the end. Make sure you watch both. But yeah, no, this is one of the better Ninja Turtles films that they've seen. I don't know how to rank this. It's too soon for me to try to rank this. But
amongst the Ninja Turtles films or in general?
Just in general, because like I have a favorite. I have a Ninja Turtles favorite, which is like you said, Secret of the Ooze. Like
Secret of the Ooze. I mean, it is what it is.
Like I actually crave pizza because of that movie. But anyway, I think that this was a huge success and absolutely something that you guys should go and watch. If you've not watched it already, by the time you check out this review, you will not be disappointed. Closing remarks, Lucas?
So, I'm going to jump out on a huge limb here, and I don't mind doing it because of the way I feel about this film. Ninja Turtles, it's called Mutant Mayhem, is the best film I've seen this year. Hands down. I don't think currently a film is close to it. And I've seen every big film that you could possibly think. Spider-Verse is Beyond the Spider-Verse is as close as you can get to this film, but I still don't think that film measures up to what this film is. This is the best film so far this year. And I think this is a film that everyone should see. It's just so important and so impactful. The emotional elements are at an all-time high with an action film, which you don't normally get here. And I know people's emotional connection to Beyond the Spider-Verse. It's a great movie. I think Ninja Turtles ups it to a level that film can't get to. It literally reminds me of Across the Spider-Verse. It reminds me of the first film. And as I was sitting through it and the character progression, I said, wow, it's not a bad character in this film. It's not a bad act in this film, and that's rare for a film. So for me, Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem is the best movie of this year. And I strongly doubt at this point I will see a movie better than this year.
Wow. Okay, so that was some strong words from Lucas because first off, we have not officially reviewed Across the Spider-Verse together collectively as spoiler discussion. That is something, shameless plug, that's gonna happen. We just haven't set it up yet. Spider-Verse, the first Spider-Verse is one of my favorites, and Across the Spider-Verse, I
said Beyond. It is Across the Spider-Verse. I skipped all the way to part 3.
Like he's sitting there going to the. I'm like, what's this man seen that I ain't seen yet? But I don't know. I know this is great, and I know both of those movies for me are 10 out of 10. But I think that the thing about this one, there's so much to unpack that I don't know. That's a good look. We can come back to that. We'll come back to this and talk about this. Mm-hmm. But thank you guys so
much. And it's hard to say just because it's been so many great films this year. It's not like this is a year with weak films. Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning is a great movie.
Yeah.
Barbie is a great movie. Yeah. Oppenheimer is a movie. Across the Spider-Verse is a great movie. Like we're about to review another film, which I think is a great movie that I've seen multiple times at this point.
Yeah.
But this film, with what they do here, it just blew my mind. And I went into this not expecting to love another Turtles film. And this one caught me off guard. And then I dissected the film and I said, oh my God, like it's so deep in its meaning. And as someone who is around teenagers and plays a key central role of raising teenagers, I understood this movie on a level that I didn't expect to understand it on. And just the loner aspects of it, along with the emotional connection of what it means to be a teenager, what it means to be accepted, what it means to be accepted by your parents, what it means to be independent. Is so deep in this movie that at times you may overlook it because it's an animated feature.
Yeah.
But just like I thought the first Spider-Verse film should have been nominated for Best Picture because of the elements that they put in it, as much as I think the Across the Spider-Verse should be nominated for Best Picture, I would put Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem in the same category. This is one of the best films I think a lot of people will ever see if you are willing to look past the point of it being animated. Because if this was live action, I don't think it would be a doubt in the world. If this wasn't live action and these were actual teenagers and you told this exact same story, I think everybody would be praising this film as possibly the best thing they've ever seen. But because this is animated and because there's an IP that everyone knows, I think you're willing to overlook how great this film is. Yeah. This is not the film to overlook. If you have teenagers, this is the film you need to take them to see, because it can lead to very interesting conversations afterwards of what it means to be accepted.
Yeah. That's real.
Especially Black teenagers. I don't want to play the race card, but damn it, if that ain't the key part here about being accepted, because that's highly important.
Yeah.
In this film.
Yeah,
the correlation is there.
That's what I want to say. We may have to revisit it because it was something that Master Splinter said, and I was like, I heard that before, but I'm gonna leave it alone for now. We're gonna go.
Dude, yeah.
What's your rating? What do you rate this?
10 out of 10. I mean, is it not obvious? Is it not obvious? I told you this is the best film I've seen this year. I'm already at over 60 movies I've seen this year, and this is the best one I've seen. And some of them are movies that definitely will be Oscar nominated. But this is the best film I've seen this year, hands down.
So there's a race for the best animated film this year, you guys. We'll talk about that come Oscar season.
Hey, man. Hey, Oscar season is going to be very interesting because I don't think we've seen... It's a couple of other ones that's out there that I think will be in a running for best animated film. And so far this year, The animated films are outpacing the live action films for Best Picture, including Disney with Elemental.
Yeah,
I don't care what people tell you about it. That movie is great. So I think it's other films, like it's just outpacing it right at this point. Hell, we're in a year where Barbie is one of the best films of the year.
You know what?
I tell you where we're at.
You know what I should have realized though when I saw Jeff Rowe's like name up here, I was like, I just spaced. I was like, the Mitchells and versus the Machines. He killed that.
And it's Oscar nominated.
It was. It was. And I should have put 2 and 2 together. But anyway, for me, it's a 10 out of 10, A+, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, I don't have anything further because we're right at the mark. Make sure you like, subscribe, hit the bell button. We got a lot more coverage coming. We got coverage coming from San Diego Comic-Con. We've got coverage coming from Otakon 2023. We will be officially going to Toronto International Film Festival this year.
Ooh.
A lot of other things because I think we may be going to New York Film Festival as well. So stay tuned. Make sure you hit the post notification button because if you haven't, you're going to miss out on some craziness. We're going to go. Lucas, thank you. We're going to go. Peace.
Filing out the top of
I can see the skyline, 50 mile radius on my timeline.